911. What is the location of the emergency? We're at Edwards Market in Delhi. The man has a pistol and just walked in firing indiscriminately. We have reports of gunfire at the corner supermarket near Mill and Reynolds. A caller reports a man in a green shirt opened fire inside the market and is still armed. Oh dear God. Shots have been fired by the police. Copy that shots fired. Watch your back. The subject is 10 feet from the front door. Fall back now. Oh my God, the police are here. I don't understand. I believe the car was struck by a bullet. This city has descended into utter chaos. We must locate these individuals and neutralize the threat. We are losing critical evidence by the minute. I can place you there. I just need to understand the motive. A grocery store in Kansas City is under lockdown with a gunman barricaded inside. We have a 901 proceed. Your other body armor is here and the marshals are prepared to move. Numerous police units have been dispatched to the location. Hello. This is Detective Sutton. I'm trying to determine what transpired. The suspect opened fire in the market. Understood they have also arrived on the scene. Police negotiators are establishing contact with the armed man inside. Hello, this is the police department calling? Yes. I don't know what transpired. I lost consciousness and I think I murdered my girlfriend. As I said, I need a name to call you. Can you tell me my name? My name is Jay. Would it be helpful if I explained the steps for you to come out safely? There is a woman on the floor likely wounded. The armed suspect is a male still inside. Are you able to hear me? I can hear you. Please listen. I've been shot. The police already shot me. The details are a blur, but I'm wounded. I took my girlfriend's life. I don't know the reason. As I said, I need to ensure you are unharmed. I am lowering my weapon. Please inform them I am trying to surrender so they don't shoot me again. All right, Jamal. It is imperative that you listen to my instructions. Okay, I am listening. Okay, just inform them I'm complying. I don't want to be startled again. I will be one of the lead investigators. Something about this situation doesn't add up. He just walked in and began shooting. He never uttered a word. Where is the proprietor? We don't have a location for Dennis at this time. Understood. We've tried his phone repeatedly without success. The line just goes to busy. Okay, I am close by. Listen carefully. You cannot have a weapon in your hands. The gun is no longer in my hand. The subject is on the phone receiving surrender protocols. He has sustained an injury. Do they know I am opening the door? I cannot get shot again. Yes, I am relaying that information. Just follow their directions. The more you speak, the more agitated I become. You need to see my perspective. I see the sniper. He has me targeted. My hands are in the air. You can see my left hand is raised. Keep your hands where they are. Hands up. The suspect is in custody. We've confirmed he has a gunshot wound to the right torso. They're running his name. The suspect identifies as Jamal Buyers with a B. Both of your victims are likely 107. EMS will confirm their status. They located 2 deceased victims. What does 107 mean? The owner and the woman, yes. This is so senseless, I know. With 2 fatalities at the scene, detectives interview the only survivor who is a relative of the female victim. And what was her name? They called her the Shield. So what happened? I can't be sure. He entered and I don't know where the shot landed, but she fell. Then he just started aiming it. And did he aim the weapon at you? He did. I just flipped a table over myself for cover. There was no argument beforehand, nothing. I really can't say for sure. I know they had a very unstable on-again, off-again dynamic. And he just walked inside and began shooting. In Kansas, carrying a handgun is as commonplace as carrying your wallet. Yet it's still shocking how quickly a situation escalates to gunfire. Probably 95% of the homicides we handle will end up involving a firearm. Does anyone need shoe covers? If you're going to cross that area, there is some blood, but I think if we are all careful based on my look, we should be all right. Okay, understood. You all are clear to proceed. This group of people all seem to arrive together. They were at the counter. Words were exchanged. Then shots rang out. Within moments, the suspect shoots her, then him, and the man tried to flee to the back. Is I right in this spot? This is the location where the female victim was shot. Hey, Jason, right here. I believe that's an eyelash or something similar. There are about 3 of them over here. Well, unbelievably, they have security video in here. It doesn't actually record. You have to be kidding. I'm not. It's only a live monitor. But look here. He has a silver semi-automatic pistol. Do you see that right where the brace is on his foot? And notice what's right beside his hand as well. What is it? That hammer. Right. Oh yes. And over here he is also carrying a knife. Oh damn, I see it. Honestly, it makes you question if this was a premeditated act, or if pressures were building and he just lost control in that moment. It's just so bizarre because there's no clear motive for why this occurred. All right, let's head back to the precinct. Turmoil at a local delicatessen leaves 2 individuals dead. One victim has now been identified as the owner. This horrific scene. I have worked many murder investigations. I find the worst acts people commit are driven by love or money and the rage tied to them. But you have to push past the emotion of it all. I must discover why 2 people were so ruthlessly killed. 2 individuals are deceased after a standoff at a neighborhood market. Police have confirmed a suspect is in custody. Relatives say the suspect shot and killed Dennis Edwards on the left and Michelle Day inside the KCK Corner Deli. Both of their families are now tragically connected by this loss. The way her life was taken is what makes it so tragic. That's a terrible way to die and to endure it like that all alone. She was left by herself on that floor for hours. There was no one holding her hand. No one there to comfort her. Nobody. We were incredibly close. We shared everything. She had such a good heart and could raise your spirits without even trying. That was just the kind of person she was. This man, I have no idea who he is. I've never seen or met him, which is peculiar because of how tight our bond was. I was informed that this man, Jamal, was seeing her, so he must have cared for her in some way. But if you had any feelings for her, how could you just shoot her in the head and then watch her collapse to the floor? I need to understand what led to that terrible moment. So who do we have identified inside La Shell Bay from what we can tell has suffered a single gunshot? I understand Gerald was only with Lachelle for about 3 to 4 months. The other victim, Dennis Edwards, owned the deli. It's not yet clear if he has any gunshot wounds or other injuries. This could stem from a domestic dispute between Gerald and Lel, but Dennis's murder complicates that theory. Exactly. With multiple fatalities and an unknown motive, the central question is understanding what truly transpired. The reason isn't always the one we expect to find. It may not be logical, but if we can determine the motive, it's often the key to holding the perpetrator accountable and ensuring justice is served. Investigators re-interviewed the eyewitness, a relative of the victim, Lel Day. She looks like she needs water. I'll have one. Yes, of course. Here you are. Thank you. How have you been holding up? It's been incredibly difficult. I understand. I'd like to walk through the events again. Can you show me on this diagram where you were standing when Jal entered? I was about to get a snack. I was right there when he appeared at the door. He came in, shot her, and she just collapsed backward. As soon as he fired, I knocked over a table for cover because his weapon was still aimed. I believe his gun jammed, and that's when I fled. Did he speak after shooting her? Not a word. There was no warning. It wasn't an act of passion, you know. He was completely calm. And can you show me where Dennis was? In the back. Dennis came out from the rear of the building, then went back inside. I see. And what did you observe after that? The next thing I recall hearing was another gunshot. There was a pause, perhaps 2 minutes, but the whole ordeal was over so quickly. Did he do anything strange on the way there that suggested something was wrong? No. There was no argument or tension during the car ride. We were just listening to music, driving normally, so nothing seemed amiss. Nothing. This will conclude the statement. The time is 15:57 hours. After receiving treatment for a gunshot wound sustained during the standoff, suspect Jamal Buyers is brought to the Bureau for interrogation. It's clear he is well acquainted with the legal system. Armed criminal action, simple assault. He's had a long history of this behavior. His family probably isn't shocked he's incarcerated. In any homicide, the person who truly knows the full story is the suspect. That's the account everyone wants to hear. You must avoid an approach that makes them feel cornered. Even though the situation is grave, our job is to present the facts we've already gathered. We have a working theory of what occurred, but your side of the story is invaluable. And you are already here with us. This whole situation never should have happened. You're only hearing bits and pieces of the truth. This wasn't the first time a weapon was pulled on me. That's precisely why we're talking. We need to hear about the things we don't know. If you've been talking to people, did you hear about the time she threatened me at the high-rises? I'm sure of it. So if you've done your homework, you already know the backstory here. It sounds like a volatile relationship. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Let me just get my head straight. This mess never should have started. She tried to set me up. The situation had to be resolved. I just need to lie down for a while. You can come back for me tomorrow. I have no issue with that. So you are agreeing to speak with us again tomorrow? Yes, I already said so. I'm telling you that now. When you're ready to share your story, the opportunity is yours. I'm not trying to be difficult here. We understand. You're all right. I'm not being difficult. I have no issue speaking now. My spirit is elevated at this moment. She was a decent person. I can't imagine what went through her mind. He just continued speaking. What he also revealed was a compelling detail. This wasn't her first time drawing a weapon on him. One lesson from this line of work is that every individual and circumstance is different. Making assumptions often proves to be a mistake later in the investigative process. You maintain an open perspective so you don't overlook key details, as the goal is always uncovering the truth. Investigators needed to interview Curtis, the suspect's friend, where the couple spent the prior night. What part of Gerald's story did he hope Curtis would corroborate? If he had observed an argument the previous night, he could clarify the situation for us. They have been in conflict or some other issue was unfolding. How are you? I'm fine. You aren't searching for me, correct? No, you're just returning from your job, right? A respectable man. Are you, Curtis? I was told he was present the evening before these events occurred. Yes, they stayed the night. They appeared quite content with each other. Everything seemed fine, with affection being shown. Did anything else seem unusual to you? You seem completely surprised by what has transpired. It's on at first. They did have conflicts, however. During their arguments, did she ever become physical with him? They would occasionally shove one another, but nothing truly serious. Is there anything else you recall? Anything at all that might prove significant? No, that's all. All right, we appreciate your cooperation. Yes, thank you, Curtis. My condolences for the loss of your friend. I appreciate that. That man drew on her. She did what she brandished her weapon. She was clearly agitated. When did that event happen? 2 months prior. Did he appear frightened when she did that? He wasn't afraid. He was just cursing as he does. Understood. Well, thank you for your time. Of course. I believe anyone under specific pressures, like a threat to their life, could be capable of murder. That doesn't justify the action, but one can see how it might unfold. Other times, a person's reaction is simply indefensible. Our job is to determine the precise sequence of events. All the post-mortem photographs are here. Was she shot in the head? Yes, just a single time. That is her only wound. But he has no bullet injuries, none, which was honestly quite surprising. There were multiple stab wounds located on the head and upper neck. That will be the cause of death, not a gunshot. The medical examiner said the blood loss was rapid. He stated the victim would have bled out in under a minute. The initial call mentioned gunfire. You proceed assuming gunshot wounds were the cause until the body is cleaned and reveals only knife injuries. In a way, it suggests a different kind of perpetrator. Such an act requires a greater level of personal involvement. Why stab Dennis with a gun on hand? It could not have been a more personal form of assault. To shoot one victim and then fatally stab another changes the entire dynamic of the crime. Michelle was raised in that very area. She must have been acquainted with both Dennis and his family. The suspect may have perceived some sort of romantic connection between the two. Is his suspicion about this man, or is it just general jealousy? What's unclear is if his conflict was with her and he saw this man as another provocation. The severity of the wounds and the sheer effort involved are just staggering. He was stabbed multiple times. This feels like more than just collateral damage. This wasn't some random fight. It was an act of pure rage. Everything concludes, but this was not his time. That single moment irrevocably altered my entire world. I shouldn't be here, left utterly shattered and forced to question why this occurred. We're here to honor Dennis's life, a true celebration. He is finally at peace, and this helps us heal. He owned his first motorcycle at 16. We had plans to go for a ride this September. A 2-week trip riding out to California and then back home. He was passionate about riding. He brought positive change to the community and always promoted peace. You know, he'd call me each night and then again every morning. I loved him, and his absence leaves an immense void. I want to face him and ask why. For Shell, for him. Neither of them deserved this fate. Ever. Not one of them. Good morning. Good morning. Detective Bundy reviews scene photos for the interview. Dennis was assisting at the checkout. They would have seen him enter this door, which is only 10 to 12 feet away. It's incredibly close. He entered shot Shell and then pursued Dennis through this area. A struggle ensued here. The knife believed to be the murder weapon was found right beside Dennis. I believe there are approximately 40 individual cuts. It makes you question the motive. Why stab him? That's what I need to understand. It's strange he omits Dennis. If you're lying about being attacked, you would include him in the story. He never claims Dennis tried to shoot or stab him. Nothing along those lines. We'll find out. This should be an interesting conversation. My interview approach is to speak to suspects respectfully, as many of the people we encounter have been surrounded by violence for most of their lives. They aren't accustomed to someone speaking to them kindly. It can sometimes disarm them, making them more willing to discuss what actually took place. This is your chance to present your side. There are always two sides to every story. Come back, take a seat. Okay, thank you. Are you in pain today? This is the last opportunity I'll have to speak with you. I'm going to review your rights and I'll explain certain things as we go. Okay. You possess the right to remain silent. Anything you state can be used against you in court. You have the right to consult a lawyer for advice. As I said, you don't just go and kill somebody without a reason, man. Not unless he was trying something. She already intended to kill me, man. She said it. On the way to the deli, we stopped at the gas station, and I see my partner Detris rolling up. I'm like, damn, what's up? I felt something wasn't right. I got Shell's phone from her and saw the texts, and I see what's happening. So she's cheating on you with your friend, and that's what I'm telling you. We leave and go to the deli. I don't know why I'd never been there in my life. I'm in the car and they're taking too long. That's why I get out and go into the deli. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, but I had already taken Shell's gun from her. How were you able to retrieve the weapon from her? She was in possession of two of them. One was in the glove compartment and another was in her purse. Were you seated in the front passenger area? I was in the passenger seat, yes. So you simply reached into the glove compartment and took it. That's right. I sensed something was deeply wrong at that point. To protect myself, I removed the second firearm from the glove box. You were attempting to conceal this action from her. Correct, she was already near the vehicle, so I took it. She was unable to see that I was armed. Then inside the store, as Shell walked to the door, I noticed a man's reflection near the deli. Had you encountered this individual before? Never. He then pursued me through the store with a ball-peen hammer. What was his reason for doing that, I don't know. That is precisely my point. Do you believe something else was happening? Why did she bring me to that specific location? It felt like a setup. Was there a dispute beforehand, or did this man just appear suddenly? Are you suggesting you think it was planned? It must have been. I have never seen that man in my life. He tried striking me from behind with a hammer. I shot at him, but did not hit him. I then turned to shoot Shell since I knew she was armed. I see. Do you understand my reasoning? Because you knew about the one in her purse. I was unsure if it was loaded or how many rounds it had. Understood. I shot Shell in the head. She collapsed. I ran outside pursuing the man who tried to attack me. He led me around the car and back toward the building. I either shot or stabbed him. My memory is hazy because of the chaos. We struggled on the ground. I asked him, "Why are you part of this?" "This has nothing to do with you." "Did the weapon fail to operate correctly?" "I believe it did." "Is that the reason you couldn't fire again?" "Yes." "How did you take the knife from him? Or did he still possess the hammer?" "Yes, we were grappling." "My memory of it remains unclear." "I understand. The entire account is quite intricate, especially given you had just discovered her infidelity. That aspect was not my main concern. I am focused on this not being her first time threatening me with a weapon. She intended to end my life. She was on the verge of shooting me. That was a dire situation, was it not? Yes, it was. He states they encountered his friend Drius, who was holding the girlfriend's phone. He was able to get the phone back. He grew angry upon discovering text messages between his girlfriend and the other man on the device. He claimed she had a gun in her purse and a second weapon, a silver Taurus, was in the glove box. She then exited the car and went into the market, at which point he retrieved the Taurus. He followed her into the market where they had a brief exchange. He said upon turning to exit, he saw a man's reflection coming at him with a hammer. He fired, but believes he missed as the man fled. He stated he then shot Lel because he knew she had a gun and was unsure of their collective plan. After the initial hammer attack and the shooting of the woman, the male assailant escaped through the front. At what point did it become clear the man was no longer a threat to him? I don't believe he ever reached that conclusion. At that point, he began to hunt him. He certainly could have retreated at that moment. No one was actively threatening him. The proprietor fled. Did he make any reference to Dennis? Considering our theory about a potential romantic rivalry being involved, did he mention Dennis or any awareness of him? He claimed to have never seen or heard of Dennis before. He did not know him. His narrative seems crafted for self-defense, but it lacks coherence. Yes, the story is entirely illogical. You have a call at no cost to you from an inmate at Wyandotte County Jail. This call is being recorded and is subject to monitoring. The charge is first-degree assault, yet he used a ball-peen hammer to strike your head. Unbelievable, isn't it? That's a completely new detail. He never once pointed out that injury. This is the very first time he's claimed that. And the other man involved, I have no idea who he is. I had to stab him, a person I'd never seen before in my life. Now they're trying to pin this on me. Yes, sir, I was forced to defend myself. Bullets were flying at me. I had to react to save my life. I had no other choice. The woman's hand was in her purse, and I knew she was reaching for a weapon to shoot me. She had weapons everywhere. We have a self-defense law in this state. He's putting a very creative spin on the events. His self-defense story keeps changing. It appears he's testing out his narrative on others to see what sounds plausible. He continues to float different versions by them, asking what they believe. He's just trying to find allies. I was in there the longest. No one else knows the real story. When an accused individual asserts a claim of self-defense, I have a duty to uncover the truth because a family shouldn't suffer the thought of a murderer walking free. His sole defense rests on the assertion that Dennis approached him with that hammer. Dennis's hands were covered in defensive injuries, showing he was trying to block the knife. In the kind of prolonged struggle he's trying to sell where they're going back and forth. This supposed wrestling match where he somehow gets the upper hand, and the victim falls with the hammer landing perfectly next to his hand. It's just far too convenient. Right. He's not telling the truth. He would have dropped the hammer long before his hand fell like that. Exactly. No doubt. He was reaching for the knife so his hands were empty. The cuts through the tendons in both his palms prove it. And consider this, Gerald was actively killing Dennis at that moment. It would have been simple for him to see the shelf and spot the hammer. He could have just said the victim had it and invented the whole account. He was alone in there for more than 2 hours. I believe the hammer was likely planted. I agree. The detectives must now investigate the suspect's story about the gun that shot Lel. Hey Jill, hi, how's it going? Crime scene techs are going through her car. Our best bet is to find something that ties him to the scene. Let's place him in the vehicle and then determine if a weapon is inside. There's a ton of stuff in here, but it looks like just a large amount of paperwork. What are you doing over there? There's a pair of handcuffs under this seat. Oh, they're toy ones. And there it is, the male subject's social. That's his number. We should have her search the glove compartment. And bingo, that's most likely her firearm in the glove box. Confirmed. It's a 9mm. This completely debunks his story about taking the gun from the glove box. His claim was that she always carried a specific Taurus in her purse but kept it unloaded. Our assumption is he's referring to the Taurus he actually brought to commit the murder. This is likely her unloaded firearm. Correct. Michelle was not armed. Great find. Excellent work, Jason. That paid off. Goodbye and thank you. Thanks, Danny. And Darren. No problem. Buyers completely fabricated that story about Lel having a weapon in the store. Yes. He first tried to imply that because she had a gun in her purse, she was a threat to him. The reality is her weapon was secured in the locked glove compartment. It was his attempt to rationalize marching in with a firearm and ending her life without a second thought. It's not a compelling narrative, but it's the only one he could produce. There's a fine line between love and hate. And when you combine those two potent emotions, and someone enters a conflict like that, I believe a person can just break. When you introduce a gun into an already volatile relationship, the outcome will never be positive. Lel's family had arrived at the police headquarters seeking an update on the investigation. I want to begin by offering our deepest condolences and expressing our sorrow for your loss. This is an incredibly difficult ordeal, but I hope this information provides some measure of comfort. Yes, she did not suffer. It wasn't that kind of situation in the slightest. The investigative process itself is by nature a very long one. I'll be direct with you. Homicide investigations are never brief. We pour a great deal of effort into these cases and are meticulous in our approach. Furthermore, the subsequent court proceedings will also be quite extensive. Did he give any reason for his actions? We know there's no real explanation, but did he offer any motive? It was essentially an extreme domestic violence incident. They had a history, problems arose, and he just erupted. And this was the result. The overwhelming feeling I got from him was a complete lack of remorse. Do you know if he was under the influence of drugs? At this moment, I am not aware. I do know there's a past history there. I just pray he gets what he deserves. He stole 2 lives. The legal question is one of knowing right from wrong, and any effort to hide what you've done proves you understood your actions were wrong. Exactly. For that reason, I would be shocked if they had any success with that defense. I assure you, if this case proceeds as we anticipate, he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Hallelujah. The dying is done. We'll see the King. Singing hallelujah. We are going to see the King, singing hallelujah glory. Friends, brothers, sisters, family, we are gathered to celebrate the homegoing of Michelle Jean Day. The Lord gives, and the Lord takes away. Blessed be his name. I'm so tired. I am weak and weary. And now this is from her sisters. Losing you was so completely unexpected. There's so much regret, so much left unspoken. We will carry on. You're in our hearts forever. We love you, sis, from all your sisters. Take my hand, precious Lord, and guide me home. Charges were filed for 2 counts of murder. Justice is a deeply personal concept, and this journey is an agonizing one for families. They need to see accountability for the person who committed this act. The state of Kansas versus Jamal Andre Lamont Buyers. Are you that individual, sir? Yes, Your Honor. Very well. This is case number CR8. The information filed contains 3 counts. Can you hear me clearly, sir? Yes. The first count is murder in the first degree, an off-grid person felony. Count 2 is murder in the second degree, a severity level 1-person felony. Count 3 is aggravated assault, a severity level 7-person felony. Is that clear? I must ensure you comprehend the charges and the conditions of your bond. That is my role here today. Do you understand your bond is set at $500,000? Cash or surety? As a homicide investigator, you must be certain you've done everything possible to bring the family a measure of justice and conclude the case. But even a conviction may never feel like true justice for the family because their loved one is still gone. Officer. Sir, we're finished here. Understood. Thermal. The tragic story of Amanda Plassey is more than a cold case file. It is a profound reminder that a person's dignity must be guarded even and especially after their final breath. Amanda was a vibrant artist, a sister, and a daughter This story teaches us a vital lesson. Justice is not just about a conviction. It is about humanity. The relentless fight by Amanda's family to pass Amanda's law proves that out of the deepest darkness we can forge a shield for others. It serves as a powerful call to action for integrity within our institutions and a reminder that privacy is a fundamental human right. We learn that while we cannot change the past, we have the sacred duty to protect the stories and the sanctity of those who can no longer speak for themselves. Let us carry Amanda's memory not as a tragedy, but as a beacon for